Hello, everybody, and welcome to the
Creative Show.
My name is Nishma, and we have, for the very first time, Kia. Would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself, Kia?
He's usually on the other side.
Yes, I'm usually doing the recording. I've been master's videographer for the last 4 months, coming up now.
How many months?
I think 4 months.
4 months.
Really?
Coming
It
up,
has
yeah.
been 4 months?
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that was
Whoa.
fast. And that's really weird. This one's transitioning slowly. Do you know how you know? He's the only one with shoes on.
We all got no shoes on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I'll remember that for next time. huh?
Thank you, Kia.
And
we have, on the
Amy.
right, Amy. People, you probably already know Amy. She's been on the show a few times already. Yes. And would you like to say anything?
Well, I am here. I just moved to work with the team.
Yes.
Suddenly, it was a whirlwind, and I am leading some of the yoga programs and working with the team. It's been very fast and amazing experience.
Amazing. And then to the right of Amy, we have Master Shia Karshana.
namaste, everybody.
Okay, and it's a very, what I noticed when we all sat down, the first thing I noticed that we're all very creative people here, like a lot of different creative personalities that I see, like photography, you also mentioned that you're a very creative person. Obviously, Master, you are. Everybody knows you're very creative, and me myself. Would you like to describe yourself, like how you got into this field of...
So I almost always had an interest in photography. It wasn't until I was 25 that I properly picked up a camera, and I was terrible. I started off and I was just doing it as a hobby, and it took me quite a while to learn a semblance of an eye. And then I did that for about 5 years. And then eventually got a job on a cruise ship to do as a photographer, and that's where I started doing a bit of video here and there, and then fell in love with doing video. Went and did some other things when I came back to land, and then thought to myself, what am I doing? I've found something I love to do. Why am I not doing it? So I decided to drop everything and teach myself as much as I could. Lots of YouTube learning and
Oh, that was after the cruise ship.
Mm.
Oh.
But then I went back to the cruise ship again.
Oh, okay. With your new skills.
Yeah, yeah. As a videographer this time.
What do you like more, filming or editing?
I remember telling you in the interview that I preferred filming, but it depends. I think it depends what I'm doing.
Your editing's pretty good, like, as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty
yeah.
good.
It's acceptable.
I have been wanting to learn from you as well. Like, we obviously, we haven't got to that point yet, but I've been wanting to learn editing skills from you as well. But anyways, continue.
I think I think I'm decent. I think the thing is there's always much more you can learn.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm always trying to teach myself more. Where was I? What was I talking
Cruise
about?
ship, somewhere, editing, filming. Oh no.
And
You went
then
back
he
to-
manifested his way here.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's right. I was saying because in the interview, you asked if it was editing or the filming side. I think it depends what I'm doing. I think if it's something very creative, it's a lot of fun coming up with the storyboard and then thinking about the whole process and then filming and then seeing it all put together is the whole thing is a really nice process that I enjoy the whole thing of. Speaking of which, me and Nico have pretty much come up with the storyboard for your poem that you did
Oh,
at
nice.
Manifesting Miracles last week, and I'm very excited to do this.
That's a
I'm very happy that I passed this one on for for you to create, because it's tough for me. It's tough for me to create it now. But the past ones where I've did some riffy, rappy poem type of thing, I did the whole production and filming, editing and everything myself. It's been maybe 4 or 5 of them. And I find that I have to do it in that moment. Later on, I can't. Like right now, even now, if I was thinking I need to pick up that thing to go and create it now, actually I don't feel it. I just don't feel it. It takes me like 10 times the effort to do it.
So why is that since the transformation of the Himalayas of you becoming master, or
I think for as long as I have been more conscious about flow and flow state, I use it a lot more in that way. It just it's effortless. I'm not saying I couldn't. I mean, I could edit. I think I could edit something nice now. But in those moments, just the universe seems to bend backwards to connect all the dots for you. For example, the last one I did was the I am love, like kind of rap riffy thing. I wouldn't call myself some, lyrical gangster or anything like that, all the words, all the rhyming words, it just all comes out. I'm not usually like that. I don't speak that way, and it doesn't usually come out that way. But in that moment I just felt, and then I could quickly type it out. So I typed the whole thing out. And after typing out, then I seen the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what I should look like. And then what happened was, when I opened up YouTube on my browser, an Eminem video came up, and that music video I've never seen before. I've never even heard the song. I can't remember what song it was, but he was sat there, and there's blue lights were flashing behind him. And then I was watching that, and then I was like, oh my God, that's what it needs to, that's the theme. So that was about 11 p.m. at night, and I was already getting ready to sleep. So we came straight to the office with the camera, set up the whole thing at night here, and filmed till about 3-4 a.m. And I had to edit straight away as well. So I edited, and it was out for lunchtime on the YouTube the next day.
Edit straight away so you didn't lose
exactly what was supposed to be put out there. Like, it's effortless. Like, if I do like that, within 8 hours, 10 hours, I would have a production that I'm really, really happy with. And that's how I found it works best. And what I call it today when I teach people is that opportunity portal. And I say flow state, that moment of flow state when energy is there. You gotta surf it. It's like riding a wave like that. If I had to pick it up now, that same piece that I created, I reckon it'll probably take me around a week to create something that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
And it would take my brain, racking that brain would be a lot tougher, I feel.
Yeah, I totally understand that creative flow where you just need to do something.
I think actually it doesn't have to sound so spiritual, because now thinking about it, all we're talking about is like, since from then till now, I've probably had another, I don't know, 150 activities in between, and mind is consumed with other things now. So it's very natural that I would need to somehow clear my mind and not be thinking about other things with all the other tasks, and try to tap into that moment again, So I think it's very logical. Yeah.
Would it not help? Would it not? Because I imagine you've got so much going on. I can't even imagine how much you've got going on in your head. But I would imagine that having a creative process might give you that break. Like
I feel noise. I feel noise is confusion. I feel every thought that people have in every single day is just confusion. None of it is intuition. I think it's all confusion. I think the more you accumulate in every day, there's too much going on surrounding. There's too much going on. I think if you have those moments out by yourself, I think everything is pure. It's pure. It's like one channel flow. It's like one sequence. it's for that reason,
Mhm.
and it needs to be out then. You might be able to relate in dance.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. But the funny thing is when I joined the team, after I joined the team, I noticed how everybody works, and they're all so ready because how you like said about the opportunity portal, or when something flows in you have to just like say it or like do a YouTube push. But the whole team is always ready because it's crazy.
the team
it's how the team works.
The team have
And-
learned to be like that, and throughout time, we've had a lot of people who come in
Yeah.
from corporate, very logical mind. We need things systemized, so we need to know what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time and whatever was going to happen. And then it's very funny because the members who have been with us for a long time say, "You'll never get that out of master," because it's just. But we always, whenever we push out something like that, it's like the water project we pushed out a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. Like within 2 months, 1,000 people in the community. Within 2 months, it was a spur of the moment. Hey, we need to execute that now. Let's do it. And then just everybody's like, it's just good because now everybody has built up this skill to be able to be flexible and be able to churn out a page and like or a funnel in like
Yeah, it's definitely not
half an hour.
everyone. Not everyone can work in this kind of environment if people are too logical minded, and definitely. But I wanted to ask Amy actually because you recently joined the team and you've been working with the team. So how's your experience been so far?
It's exactly as you've just described. You have to be ready
Yeah,
just for a schedule change any moment. And I like that, actually. My whole life has been very disciplined, very committed, especially as an athlete. Everything had to be mapped out, timed out perfectly on time. I think I was just saying to Nishma, actually deep down, I wouldn't consider myself to be that disciplined athlete. I'm actually a very creative soul, and I was when I was younger.
Mhm.
And I was always the kid who was just off on her own, making up stories in her head and making up magical worlds. And I was artistic and musical. All of that got compressed and regulated. So I really didn't touch into that creativity for so many years. Actually, maybe not even till I started following you, Master. So when you were saying about the creative flow, I think the structure and the order actually blocks that. And
But I think it's a perfect balance. Like I think what you have, I would call it the perfect formula for success. They say if you take discipline and you take surrender, in between is flow state. So because I always say you can only flow with what you know. It's like I grab your piano, you don't know how to play it, then you can flow all you like, but it's not going to sound like anything. So there's discipline that gets you something. Then it's surrendering with the energies and the movement of it. In between surrendering and discipline is where the perfect flow state is. So I think that because you can say, hey, creativity and everything, or just be creative self and flow with it. But actually, how you are in discipline is gonna you're gonna see all the rewards come through from that. It's required. That's why a lot of woo people flowing, they never get any results because they're just going with the wind like this. They're just moving with the wind.
You're completely right, Master. Actually, when you were just saying that, I was remembering how you once told me that everything in my life has built me up to being here. And that creative side obviously was suppressed for so many years with all the discipline. That's prepared me. I tried yoga maybe 10 years ago. I wasn't ready because I was still in that athlete mindset. And now, since I started joining yoga with you, that creative side has come out. And it's the perfect balance between the athlete and the creative soul.
Beautiful.
Actually, yoga allows me to combine those two so perfectly and beautifully. How can I move? I want to get from this asana to this asana. And in my mind, the creativity is how can I flow? And it's almost as an art form to get from one to another. And those that take my class love that flow, that connection between the poses.
It's beautiful. One moves into the other.
Mhm.
I love doing that as well. And when I'm going to other people's classes sometimes where it's just randomly do this, okay, go upside down. Then suddenly it's like, okay, stand up. I'm like, what? Why? It's not in that flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's like that. Everything's preparation. That's why for many years now I've been teaching, I say, master the form, flow with the formless, because the same thing happened in my life as well. Creative kid, dad was drilling me like discipline, work hard, stand there, don't do anything, just count the money and do that. It's just the jobs were just very boring and every day was the same thing, but it got me to work hard. It got me to have that hard work ethic, and the mix of it is beautiful.
Like everything in life, balance between two dualities.
Definitely, yeah. But don't you find that in normal society, a lot of creative people, people just don't understand. Like they think that, okay, if you can't be too creative, you can't be doing your own things. You need to follow the structure. You need to go to school, do this, do that. I don't know about you. From my viewpoint, I've been seeing that a lot of even my friends or like the people that I've been hanging out with, if they're a lot creative, they just can't. People don't understand because they have such a different view perspective on things. They have their own unique way of looking at things because they're so creative, and people just don't understand. So they find it hard to get along with everyone else. That a lot of creative people find it hard to, get along with the society or like the whole rules and the structures. That's how I feel like creative people find it very challenging to fit in to, you understand what I
I think
mean?
that's the
Yeah,
balance. That's the balance. you're
Definitely.
talking
I
about.
think it's the statement that was coming up was we're in the world, we're not of the world. So it's finding the balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we appreciate we are, our soul is eternal. It's formless. However, we also have to honor the fact that we are in the world. We can't just, disobey the way things work here. We have to find the balance. We have to be able to be of the world also.
Exactly, because there are also people who are, who want to do their own thing, but then people have programmed them in such a way. And I've seen this as well, that don't be creative. You need to follow this structure if you want to get results in life. Don't forget about all that, because this is the thing you need to do to get results. And I feel like there's so many people who are creative, they can be unique.
I think there's a time for that, though. I really do. I feel there's a time for that. Like, because like for Amy, discipline is there. Then we can say add creativity there. But I think some people, they're not even, the foundation isn't even strong enough, and they're wanting to explore, but you haven't got the skills. You haven't got that to explore yet. It's like, I'll tell you one thing that I disciplined myself to do. On the first page of my phone is the dictionary. Every day I'll open it up just to learn new words. And the reason behind it is because we're doing so many spiritual riffs. I can say I allow to channel and surrender the energy through me. But when I'm watching all my riffs now, I'm saying, hey, it all sounds the same. And it sounds the same not because the divine is stuck on ideas. They got so much more they want to portray, and so many messages they want to portray. But the limitation is within this discipline here, my vocabulary.
This is what I want to really get deeper into, because obviously I'm new to everything when I first came here, and I've been learning everything as I go. And I want to learn as much as possible about everything, but with regards to you, Master, and your transition and how everything works and how everything flows through you, I'd really like to get deeper into how that works.
It does it through everybody. There's nothing. The only, if you were to say that this was special, the only thing I would say was special is that is that mind is not so consumed, and I trust and flow with whatever comes through. So it's like, for example, if I was to hold a camera up and I say, okay, 1 minute, speak. The average person, speak about what? That's very normal. But because thought is already happening. But if I say, okay, speak about relationships, well, what do you want to know about relationship? No, just anything you want about relationships. Relationships are good, because you're thinking. The only difference is when you say, okay, speak about relationship, you bam, hit the button. I'm like, okay, relationships is a beautiful thing. It's like a connection between two people. And it doesn't need to make sense, but it will make sense. That's surrendering. Is I have no expectation and I have no attachment to, I better get the words right. It better flow out right.
So then I guess my question would then be, with your transition, does it make the flow easier?
Transition, because I think you're referring to the mountain transition.
Yeah.
That was a different thing. And yet at the same time, the mountain transition was only permitted because I had gone through the previous transitions. So because I've been doing spiritual rifts, I've been flowing, I've been teaching flow state for maybe 4 years now. So it's been a while I've been accessing this one. So that transition, we can say, yes, something happened for me to tap into that.
Because I thought that was the first.
No, because mountains was something else. Mountains was more about different dimensions. That was my biggest thing with mountains, with the initiation, was about different dimensions. Flow state, channeling, things become more clear. So it changed. But for a few years, it's been very in touch with it. And the thing that allowed me to get there was learning bioenergy healing and firewalking. These two things. Firewalking was probably my biggest. Yeah, we'll have to do it sometime. Get you on the fire. Yeah. No logical mind will be able to justify. At the beginning, because we know a lot of skeptical minds happen there, at the beginning we take a zapper, we zap it to show everybody it's 1,700 degrees when we're able to walk. And then we say, okay, begin. Everybody does baby firewalks. Yeah, they do. A lot of people, they go to different events and it's like, yeah, cool moss, or ice cold fire, ice cold, yeah. And then they start, they kind of like very quickly walk over, usually a 7 foot, 8 foot fire. But we don't do that. We do 45 minutes on 1,700 degrees, non-stop. 45 minutes, going like that. And some people they'll question, oh, maybe because you're doing it this way, maybe because you're doing that way. Nothing can justify why you guys know Lim, right? I don't think this story has been shared in public before, right? Nothing can justify how he went into hospital. He was hospitalized, and they said they needed to cut somewhere else to fill in for his feet. It was that bad, right? But that note, he was walking at exactly the same time as all of us were for the same duration. So what is the difference? He has weaker feet. You see?
So he has a weaker spirit.
In that moment, there was a troubled mind. Yeah, but it's a fascinating thing. And I did maybe firewalking maybe 10, 20 times. I didn't get it. I thought it was some rah-rah thing and you overcome some fear and you feel like a warrior afterwards, and that's all it was. Then I went for firewalk. I'm a certified trainer. So when I went for the certified trainer, we had to do 400 walks in those 3-4 days. 400 walks is very intense. Literally, you wake up in the morning, you're walking on fire. Till you sleep at night, you're walking on fire. And every single day you're walking until you're like, I don't want to walk anymore. It's like that. It was really tough, really tough. Like there was a lot of people who were crying throughout it because it was just so tough. That was where I got my biggest awakening, because it was just like, we weren't firewalking, we were fire standing then.
So obviously, a newbie can't just go into that. You've got to have some.
Don't try this at home. This disclaimer needs to be on this one.
I was looking forward to that one for Wealth Yogi. We were gonna have
next Wealth Yogi
firewalking, but because of lockdown, no, didn't happen.
But what I'm saying is, you need to be at some kind of level.
No,
to then do that.
So I can guide anybody. Give me half an hour, I can guide anybody on there.
But then that would presumably, especially if you're, as I say, a newbie to everything, that would awaken quite a lot all in one go.
It depends which part of the journey. So awaken you to your next part of your journey. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that I was already familiar with flow state. I was already familiar with surrendering. I was already familiar with energies, and I did it. So my epiphany was very different to the rest of the group, you see. But now that I've led it, I realize last time I did it in India was last year during Master the Stage, was my most powerful one, leading, guiding. More people got the awakening that I got through it, is because the more times I lead people through it, the more I realize what I need to get them to feel before they understand it. Yeah. And it was very deep. Very, very deep. Yeah.
Kira has a lot of interesting questions, you know.
Seeker's journey.
Kia always asks me, he's
Yeah,
behind the
me
camera
too.
and I'm speaking, and he's just like, I got some question.
We need to have a whole different show with just you and Master and Kia, so he can ask all these questions and just throw it at him.
Actually, me and Nico and Josh were having a quite a deep conversation yesterday about I as you can see, have lots and lots of questions.
You need to
about
write them
everything.
all down, so you know.
Well,
time.
or I could just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Just go with the flow.
But yeah, I mean, we had a very sort of, it was good hour and a half or something. We were talking yesterday, and yeah, I mean, obviously, from an outsider's perspective coming in, there's going to be a lot of what's this, what's going on here, how do you do this, and everything. So,
but it's interesting though, because I mean, you're local here, not far, right? And it's interesting because we have the gym across there, Esme Gym. Did you meet the guy?
Yes.
What's his name?
Bradley.
One day he comes just walking up to me, hey, I've seen your work online and things like that. I said, okay, cool. And then obviously he's just is local guy, fitness gym, just what a normal person would be like, right? But then he comes over, he's just like, oh my God, I feel different. I think different to other people. Like, what is this going on? And can you help me? And what do I need to do? I mean, I try meditation, but I need some guidance and whatever. And it's so random because, like, you can go on the streets and we can talk about these topics and people will be like, what are you talking about? It's like, let's talk about what's happening with the Kardashians this week. It's like, people will never get it. But it's really funny because Kia also came in just applying for, we don't put a sign out for a spiritual videographer, you know what I'm saying? But you just apply for it. Then he's sitting there. Then I think within one of the first few sessions, he's just like, that thing that you talked about, what is it? I always think about that. I used to always think about this thing, right? But it's interesting how the universe connect. This is literally law of attraction, right? Vibrations attracting vibration. It's a fascinating thing, right? For a newbie to come into comes acceptance of all this and be very intrigued.
Yeah. But I feel like something like this should be, don't you think it should be taught in school, like from younger, like how do you, because you have a son, Louis, so have you been teaching him all this stuff since he's young? He's more spiritual than a lot of average people out there.
Louis has a lot of questions.
He does, yeah.
And on our long car journeys, I answer them all. Luckily, I have a very strong background in science, so I can answer them pretty much to the I will always give him what I can, the truest.
You used to be a teacher as well?
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, still also a teacher. Then, I will answer them as truthfully as I can. I never want to, a lot of time in school, you're told by your teacher, you ask a question, maybe we don't need to talk about that. You don't need to know that now. That's not on the course. That's not in the syllabus. Maybe the teacher probably doesn't know the answer. And that's it. Or, but with Louis, I always try and answer his questions. So he's also got some very deep questions for Master, even spiritual questions, and also to keep him, not just answer them, but also to let him keep questioning, not just accept what I've said as being true, but maybe keep him questioning further and further. So
he's been going to school.
During lockdown?
No, before that.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like homeschooling or anything.
No, he goes to school and
and that's never been your thought for homeschooling.
He's such a sociable kid. It's not for his education. I can help with that. He likes the human interaction.
Meeting
so.
people.
Yeah.
It's We need to get him on the show as well.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
You
With
know,
me and him on the same show, there'd be too many questions.
God.
you know, a lot of people talk about changing the education system.
Mhm.
One thing that, again, I was talking to Chibari about this the other day. I think there's different levels of consciousness. Is like this. One level of consciousness is the material consciousness, which is most people, which is that, okay, we're just conditioned, we need to go to school, and this is how everything works, and we need to get a job, and hopefully we retire early, and this is what we need to do. We need to pay the bills, right? So that's the game. So that's one level of consciousness, which is the average conscious. And then the next level consciousness, I would say, are the people who get awakened to personal development and then start saying, oh my God, the education system should so change. They should teach all of these. People should not teach all those things at school and all the rest of it. And the system should not be that way. The system's all messed up, and media is contaminating everything, and it's bad. So I feel that's a second level of consciousness. But I feel that third level consciousness is witnessing and coming to acceptance that the creator is very, very smart. The creator would not, it created everything. It will only evolve at the time that is relevant, at the time that it can evolve. And in the same way, if you really think about it like this, how could you take the whole system down of media, all the drugs and violence, all the teachings at school, or the conditioning at school? If you took it all down, you would have no workers, you would have no world, you would have no, like, everything would collapse. The economy would collapse. Everybody become free spirit, and everybody become entrepreneur and leader. Who's going to work in the factories? Who's going to do the whole system would collapse. So then you come to another level of consciousness, is saying that we come to acceptance as ising. Everything is as is. It's not worse than it is. It's not bad. It's not good. But it's just how the way it's supposed to be. What is our role as a positive conscious creator is to apply more positivity there, to awaken more spirits. But it's not to bring the whole system down or change the whole education system. And I think that is what I think a lot of people are fighting the system right now, because they're saying, no, it's wrong.
Right.
I don't see it as wrong. I also don't see it as right, but it's supposed to be.
Isn't there an extra one of those three examples you gave? Because for me, it feels like, in my example, it's like intuition. It's like, yes, I hadn't really known about anything about this before I came here, but at the same time, some of the things you've said, you know, I've been like, okay, that's the way I view that as well, and so that's an intuition that's just sort of grown with me throughout the years, and I've come to a conclusion. I don't know what my question is, but
I was like,
I'm trying to get to
It
it.
was a beautiful
No,
chat.
no, but when you say, but this is what I was saying from the beginning of the conversation, when you said how do you do that, or and I said everyone can do it. It's because on some level, like, you take anybody listening to this thing, on some level they'll be able to think, hey, I've thought about that before. They just don't know where that thought came from. They don't know whether they watched the wrong movie, or they've gone a little bit crazy, or, you know, but everybody's thought about it before. But the only reason everybody would always think about it before is because we are the collective consciousness. There is only one, which is all. So we're all connected.
I think it's about having people not collapsing the system, as Master said, but having people who have the awareness and the consciousness positioned in these school, government, things like that, who can help people to realize that actually what they feel is true deep down is the same as what everyone feels is true deep down. It's the same with religion. There's one truth. It's just about having the people who can guide everyone to realize actually we do all agree
Yeah.
if we can get past all of our differences.
But at the same time, not everyone will agree.
No.
And that disagreeing is part of the system.
Mhm.
It's what makes us experience bliss and happiness, because sadness is there. So it's duality. Yeah, it's really interesting because yesterday I went to visit my sister. So my sister's got 3 children now, and the eldest one has been labeled all these different labels. Basically, he's not speaking yet, and he's maybe four now, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 4 now, and he's not speaking. He likes to stay by himself. He doesn't like loud noises and all this rest of it. So I can't remember all the labels, but basically, when my sister was talking about it, I said, "How is he?" And then she said, "Oh, there's this problem, that problem, the other problem." One of the problems was that he's very sensitive to noise, right? The second thing is he likes to be by himself. The third thing, well, it's what is the thing? What? Hey? No. Well, maybe that as well, but
Autism.
yeah, autism. Yeah,
Oh,
autism
yeah.
was the main
Yeah.
thing, and then on top of that was layering all these other titles, right? All these different things, right? And when they were labeling it, they says, "Oh, he likes being by himself. He's very sensitive to things, and he's very sensitive to emotions and things like that." And then I said to my sister, I said, "That's really funny," and obviously it's like shocked, like, "Why are you saying that's funny? You know, that's terrible." You know, I said, "Because all of my students are trying to get to that point." I said, all of my students are trying to not need to deal with people, are trying to make their sensories heighten, are trying to sense more things, are trying to be by themselves, are wanting to have that. And this kid has been, it's to conditioning to society, it's a big problem. That's weird. Huh?
It's so true that you say that. I've had so many autistic students, and they are incredible people. Their minds are so everything is simple in their mind. They don't overthink things. They don't filter what they say. They speak the truth.
But
and
just because they are different, then it's a problem.
actually,
This is society, right?
yeah, these people actually, if more people were like them and they didn't lie, they were simple mind, didn't
They said
overthink
how it
things
is and things.
exactly. Then
The world would be
Yeah.
a nicer place for sure.
I love all of these students so much. They are beautiful souls, so creative. They do what they want to do.
Have you ever watched the movie The Accountant? Is it The Accountant?
Mhm.
Is it?
I think
Ben Affleck.
is it one. I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
Not
you
sure.
think? Yeah, you should watch it. That's. I think it's autism as well. But then he's like the most smartest genius when it comes to maths. Yeah.
Mhm.
But a lot of these children, when society calls special needs, I see as special, not needs, special children.
They're all special souls.
Yeah, if they were an X-Men, then they will go to Xavier's that school, huh?
Well, I mean, that's another thing I've always wondered about is, you know, are crazy people really crazy? You know, what
No,
they're
just
seeing and
There's a
stuff like
real
that, you know.
famous one on YouTube. I forget his name now. He just goes in the middle of streets and randomly like preaches and chants, and he's really scruffy and stuff like that. I can't remember his name, but he talks so much sense. Like everyone's like laughing at him and things, but he's probably the only one who's clued up about everything. It's so weird. Yeah. Do you know when my biggest learning in we call it the pilgrimage, the journey, when we were going around India, my biggest learning was one was when we were asking about Hanuman.
Yes. Monkey god.
Yeah. So when we started getting awakening to his whereabouts, that cannot be spoken about. I'm feeling pressure now anyway. But when it got through that, then Lucy asked a question to Grandmaster, and it was a very beautiful, big awakening for me. So when Grandmaster goes anywhere, to restaurants, to everything, anybody serves him anything, gives him anything, it doesn't matter even if it's a beggar on the street or whatever, he's always bowing down. He's bowing down to everybody, he's bowing down. And Lucy says, what does that actually mean? Like I understand, let's say it's for respect for elders or your masters or something, but what about just the waiter, the waitress, the person on the street, the beggar, why are you bowing to them? What does that mean? Then he said, you never know who these people are. And he said, a lot of these are very, very divine energies. And at that point, I was like, skeptical mind will come in.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're just saying that, as but then as he started to explain, I can't remember the exact words, but my portrayal of it was this, what I understood from it was, if you were a divine energy, let's say you were God, right? Now, God, you'll have to monitor how the world is. You'll have to monitor who you need to reward, who you need to look after, who needs a little bit of a penalty, a slap on the hand. So you have to monitor, make sure the universal law of justice is kept as fair as possible. Yeah. So how would you monitor as God?
You have to be a
How would you
spy.
monitor? So first of all, you'll play CCTV, but where is your CCTV?
Mm.
It's not physical CCTV. As God, as extensions of God, your CCTV is people's eyeballs.
Mhm.
Now, the interesting thing is this. If you were to see and test a spirit, whether they are really kind or really loving or really compassionate, or they just fake it for public, who would you place the CCTV through? If I put what society will call special need child, what society see a child with a problem, put in front of you, what are your actions then? If I was to place a beggar, smells
Mm.
dirty, next to you, let's see your actions then. How much respect do you have? How much compassion do you have? How much love do you have when it's just between you and them? And when he started to explain that, I started to see everything is like that. That's why a lot of the time you see these real crazy or whatever people. Actually, if you were to hear them speak, there's so much wisdom coming out and you think, where did that come from? How did that come out of there? Yeah.
Mm.
So now in our practice, when we're going anywhere, moving anywhere, to all homeless, beggars, anybody, doesn't matter, including a kid we have, his name's Manu in Kenya. So when we go out to Kenya, you'll meet him. Again, another, what they will say, special needs kid. Yeah. So he's not normal. But then who wants to be normal,
Yeah.
right? we should stand out.
Mhm.
So he
Right.
stands out. But because he stands out, society would be against it.
Mhm.
But if you see him, it's weird. Manu is probably 6 years old. He comes up for no reason, right? Let's say one of the volunteers last time, where the Taiwanese lot was there, one of the volunteers had a headache. Manu just walked over. Nobody spoke to him or anything, right? He's always by himself. The kids don't play with him or anything like that. He's by himself, right? The kid comes over, a 7-year-old kid, puts his hand on one of the volunteers' head, and then starts. It's like this channeling, like this chanting thing. And we're like, what's he doing?
Oh,
And
wow.
then everyone's laughing at him. Everyone's laughing and thinking, oh, he's so weird, he's whatever. And then one of our teachers translated and asked him, Manu, what are you doing? He says, I'm healing, sending healing.
Wow.
Mm.
It's like, where on earth would a kid do that? When we start to learn that, that's why I said it's my biggest learning, because I realize, Grandmaster always says, when we respect energies respect us. And if we really, every single moment of every single day, doesn't matter who it is that's coming through, it doesn't matter if it's Naiko, doesn't matter if it's Kia, doesn't matter whoever is coming through, everyone who is coming to us, we don't know at what moment who's going to be observing and who's going to be using or speaking through you.
Right.
So in every moment, we are showing utmost respect and love. And when we do that, it's a fascinating journey. That's why now I see in life, it seems like everything just seems to be in my favor. But it's not in my favor. Everything is just that exchange of that energy.
It's beautiful.
I think I experienced something like that once. It was about 15 years ago, so I can't really remember what happened. I just remember being in central London. I think I was a courier at the time, so I was dropping off a package or something. And some old fella stopped me, and he said a few words to me. And I remember at the time it not making any sense to me, but I walked away from it like, okay, that wasn't anything normal. That was something that just happened there, and yeah, it stayed with me ever since.
Yeah, that's true. So that's very true. We need to respect all energies, no matter where we go. Learn to respect all energies. And I think we can conclude there. That's
This is a
beautiful
very
way
deep
to-
conversation, huh?
Yeah, we can get
These
deeper
shows are getting
and
deeper and deeper now.
But yeah, so guys, that's it for this episode. Let us know if you guys learned anything. Let us know in the comments. And if you do like this video, make sure to give a thumbs up and make sure to comment and share the video as well. And we shall see you in the next episode of The Creator Show. Okay, bye for
Namaste.
now. Namaste.